invite Josh up to, if you have any questions for him, he'd be happy to answer them. Thank you, Josh.
I like to say there's a plenary indulgence attached to watching that film. Thanks for watching. Can I answer any questions for you guys? Feel free to stand up and stretch. It's a bit long, so you want to stand up real quick and stretch. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes.
Did you have a bread with you and Miguel as well, or just like?
No, Miguel and I just fasted on water.
Holy.
And I gotta admit the body of Christ in the Eucharist. So.
Wow. One kind of bread?
We went to Mass 7 times ago. Yeah, we generally made it to Mass every day as our schedule permitted, so. Yeah. But Isaac had bread and water, so. Each as the Lord called us, so. Yes, ma'am.
Were you, the women that you helped prevent abortion, were you able to give some kind of immediate help so they had an option? I know you mentioned adoption, but I think most women that walk up to an abortion clinic probably are very conflicted. But when I was trying to help somebody, I didn't find a lot of information about adoption and such like that. Did you work that up prior so that you know what you're handing out to people, or were you just talking to them verbally?
Good question. The question is, what did we actually give out, or what did we actually tell and offer to the women that we would meet at the abortion clinic? And I think there was one where you saw me kind of talking to one lady in the white Ford Explorer she drove in, and really, I wish I had like a rhyme and a reason to every time, and like a plan of attack, and like, you know, these are the 7 steps of life here. But I'll be honest, guys, like I don't think anyone does. Like certainly there's amazing pro-lifers, and there's workshops you can go to be like a certified crisis pregnancy counselor and all that. But I'm 30 now. I was 28 when this was filmed. Like, I personally, and to the extent that you're comfortable and you feel God calls you, offer what you can. And I don't, personally, I didn't feel like God was just asking me to give out a flyer. Certainly I had flyers for our local crisis pregnancy center and whatever other things I could get. And I would hand those out, but I also felt like God would also call me to be like, here's my number, call me, I'm Josh. And you know, like, I'm not poor, I'm not rich, like, I have college loans as well, but like I can certainly put $20 in someone's gas tank or take them out to eat or something, you know. And I'm a guy, so maybe offering them my number is not is a little different than like a girl walking up and hand up her number. But whatever you're comfortable with, it's going to be a sacrifice. One of the ways I knew that Angela was such a holy pro-life babe was when we started dating, was shortly after I had met Patricia, the young lady who interviewed with the child at the abortion clinic. Patricia was 19, and I met Angela the month after I met Patricia, and it was a month later that Patricia ended up calling me back and saying, hey, I kept my child. That was it, on the texter. And then I was like, sweet, you know, I texted her back, never heard anything again. And a month later, I got like a picture of an ultrasound on my texter. Wow. You know, and so they don't, you know, just because you meet someone at abortion clinic, you may never see them again. You know, I give Patricia a call maybe every 6 months. I haven't heard from her in a year, but you know, God calls us just to do what we can. You know, but my wife immediately, my wife to be, my girlfriend, she was like, let's throw a baby shower. So she got together with her friend, who come from a very white family. I almost want to say, well, I shouldn't say, but very white family, and they're like, and she was like, Dad, parents, can we use your house to throw a baby shower for this girl that my new boyfriend met at the abortion clinic? And her parents generously but hesitantly agreed. But it cost us something, you know, $100 in baby shower supplies. But it really makes all that difference. And I think that goes a long way, especially when we turn to communication with the pro-choice crowd. I've got a lot of family members who are pro-choice, and just consistently day in and day out, look, I'm not out here to yell and scream at you. I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm being friendly, and I'm offering life. I'm offering real support to people that I meet. So I don't have a 7 levels of success Stephen Covey book. I just think we just got to do it, you know, to the ability that God enables us. Yes, ma'am. Take it. No, you.
My question was kind of the other side. I had your question, but the other side. In the 200 plus persons who heard you, what did you hear from them? Was there a common denominator? Was there a word? Was there something that they offered to you? Or was it also as, you know, what you say to them is from the Spirit, so it comes. What comes back? What do you hear?
It's a great question. Great question. I think the question is, what's the common denominator of what I hear from talking to women who decide to keep their children? I wouldn't even say I get that consistent of feedback. And Patricia's a rare case. She generously let us videotape her. That's huge. That's huge. That hadn't happened to anyone else. And you never bring it up unless they bring it up. You know? I'm not just a friend to you just because you kept your child. We want to forget about that. And let's focus on the future here. So I rarely ever get a chance to talk about that. But from my viewpoint, I would say, the common thread is there's just a lot of fear. And young people are looking for friendship. Especially, we can read statistics all day. It's the college crowd that's having the most abortions. You know, so you're on campus here, you know, build friendships with people. And I think that kind of Christian support goes the furthest in the pro-life movement.
My question was about thresholds for you. Last week, I believe it was at the Mass we heard Monsignor talk about, and I believe that's when I heard threshold, about a threshold in our life. We go from one place to another. And obviously, I believe you said you're 28 when that film was made. And there's such a maturity that we see in you. And so my question is this: what was a threshold experience for you when you went from being an ordinary Catholic young guy to what we saw in that film? I mean, that I think just amazing.
Maybe
Something happened in your life. I'm interested in knowing about that.
I can give you a brief sketch of my life, and I think you'll maybe understand a little more. So I was homeschooled. I think that says a lot. So was Lila Rose. You know, she's great. But my parents were very involved in the pro-life movement as well growing up. I have a distinct memory of like seeing my dad arrested for a peaceful sit-in at an abortion clinic back in the days of Operation Rescue. So that was kind of ingrained in my head as a child. Like many young people, I left the Catholic Church, even though I was raised Catholic. I left the Catholic Church in college. Took 6 years to get a 4-year degree, partied pretty hard. And a couple of things in there were really catalysts. One, I had a good study buddy guy. We used to party a lot, and he died of leukemia, which really kind of riveted me. Like, okay, wait a minute. And I knew he was raised Catholic too, and so that really made me sit and think. But then I also had some other friends, and I think like a lot of young people, we kind of have tasted the glory of God, but we've also tasted the world. And so I wouldn't say I was a hypocrite, but I was. But I was genuinely like a foot in the world and a foot with the Lord. And I wanted kind of both if I could have it. And so somehow I was still going out to abortion clinics on somewhat a regular basis. But then I remember I started to see people, because I grew up in Virginia Beach, went to community college, went to Old Dominion University, which is the next city over, served in Virginia Beach, partied in Norfolk. And I remember I started seeing people that either reminded me of the people I was partying with the month before, the night before, or they were the people and I was like 99% sure. And that just worked on my conscience real quick. And I realized like, my decisions I made on Friday night were condoning behavior that is now leading to death. And it was just very clear to me, like at that, like it just quickly, it wasn't so quick. Looking back on it, I felt like it just quickly like worked like that. So that could have been two things. Help and maybe the power of praying parents. You know? St. Monica. There you go. Yeah, and I think maybe once you just start going to the clinic and you realize the real battle that's there, and it's not a battle of like me versus this evil woman who's having an abortion, but it's really more like hostage negotiation. She doesn't want to be there, that child's caught in the middle. What can you do to alleviate that hostage situation so that she walks out with support, with friends, and that child walks away alive with the chance for a future and a hope? So, seeing through that vision as you go to abortion clinics more and more. I hate it every week. I never wake up and want to go to an abortion clinic to pray or to counsel or to talk. I hate it every week. You have to drag yourself there. Like literally drag yourself there. Like it will never get easy. It will never get fun. But you just gotta go. You just gotta go. Yes, ma'am.
Have you, in any of these plays that you've attended, have you ever had anybody from the staff, like verbally or maybe physically kind of assault you or anything, or that kind of?
I personally have not ever been assaulted. I have called the police on some men that were bringing women there who have never like touched me or anything, but been very physically, very threatening and perhaps and intended to hurt me. But I'm perhaps maybe even a little more vocal than I should have been sometimes. So I don't say that to scare you. Don't not go out there because you might get attacked. You won't get attacked. I'll protect you. Don't worry. But I would honestly like say to a guy, and I think someone like a guy can say to another guy like, hey man, a real man protects his wife, his girlfriend, and protects his child. And when a man says that to another man, it's meant to be a bit abrasive, And men respond. I work with boys. I did youth ministry for a while. Men respond to that. So with the, I wasn't trying to be mean, but I was looking for some sort of response from those men, and I definitely got that response from some of those men. One interesting story. To finish that off. There's a picture of a Eucharistic minister at Mass at St. Gregory's. He used to be a policeman who worked for the abortion clinic. It was interesting. He was Catholic through and through, saw nothing wrong with it. And he used to heckle me a bit, like get behind the line or stay off the sidewalk or whatnot. But we had conversations over and over and over again, like the classic one, like, what would you do if Hitler had asked you to do this in Germany? Like, does it make it right? Well, I'm just following the law. I gotta support my family. Just kind of bring that back to his attention, and over time, he just got out of it. And just completely stopped. And he didn't talk to me about it or anything. Interesting thing though, is his kids started coming to youth group there when I later started doing youth ministry there. But you see changes, you see heart changes and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes, ma'am?
Did you were able to find out about that friend and her woman that was going into the abortion?
No. If you're in it for encouragement, it's not too encouraging to talk to people. There's not a high success rate. One child is worth it, right? Yes, ma'am. Oh. Never mind.
Let me ask you about this. I definitely consider myself for life. But what I have gone through recently is that with people that sometimes are brought into the faith, is that as soon as they brought me that I'm a pro-life, they try to ask me this question: to what extent does the Catholic Church protect life if there's any exceptions? I've been reading about it and reflecting about it. They throw me all these different scenarios.
Yeah.
That even never even crossed my mind. Oh, but what if it's through rape, or what if it's through this, what if it's this person, and all these different scenarios that for me sometimes it's even hard to answer because I want to answer the best in the best way that I can, knowing the posture of the Catholic Church.
Yeah, good question. I'll try to make this quick. So the question was, what is the church? How do you respond to people that ask you the what if scenarios? What if she was raped? What if she's going to die? What if this pregnancy is going to make the other kids grow up in poverty? I found best, for one, the Catholic Church is 100% pro-life. For two, the only reason, and I hate to even say it like this, is you can have an abortion is when it's not an abortion, but it's the secondary effect of something else. And for example, the classic example is a woman who has cancer and needs radiation. That radiation puts her pregnant child at risk. However, she can morally undergo that treatment in order to save her life. If the unfortunate circumstance or secondary effect of that chemotherapy is the death of her child, then it's moral. Because the intent was not to kill the child, the intent was to heal her. It's kind of like the self-defense theory. Like, if you attack me, I can morally protect myself, and if the only way of protecting myself is to kill you to protect my family, then I can morally do so, because the intent was not to kill you, the intent is to safeguard the innocent person in my family. So there's a lot of tricky questions, but they're not tricky, and they're really scenarios that honestly, I just say like, I always try to say like, okay, let's actually talk to the person who's in this scenario and see what's actually going on here. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, doctors will say, you have to have an abortion. When I met people at the abortion clinics that said that, and some of them honestly really wanted their child, they were like, my doctor told me if I didn't have an abortion, I was going to die. Like, straight up. And I'm like, how are you going to die? I don't know, but that's what my doctor told me. I'm like, get a secondary opinion. You know, and maybe the Crisis Pregnancy Center will have some pro-life doctors you can line her up with. But a lot of those are just really sad situations, because I remember one distinctly, a woman going into an abortion clinic, she said that, I was like, why? Can I get you a doctor who's pro-life practice to get a secondary opinion? She was like, no, I need to do this now for some reason, I forget what. But she was just sad, she was like, I don't want to, but I need to. I've got 2 other kids, and she was just emotionally a wreck. And I was just like, can I baptize your child, like, through your womb? And just like took some water and just like marked the sign of the cross on her womb. And, you know, just like, it's such a sad story, but like, what do you do? Like, I gave her the number for Christ Pregnancy Center so you could get some pro-life doctors. I don't personally know any. I didn't at the time have personal pro-life doctors, but like, thinking like, what can we do? Like, maybe just do that baptism. Maybe that child will just like, I don't know. I wish there was like clear cut. Here, read this, and like everyone would be like, oh, solve my problems. Now I know exactly what to do. It's not like that, unfortunately. Sin is always in the gray, and the devil loves to live in the gray. So I would say though that just the fact that you're willing to talk to people about it, if you can pull them out of the immediate idea, like, I need an abortion, you should be like, let's talk about this. Then they're much more likely just to be open to look for any venue that will keep them from having to abort their child. And your friendship goes much further than a lot of perfect answers to hypothetical morality questions, you know what I mean? So I hope that helps. I think we can probably get, how much time do we have for questions?
One more question would be.
All right, I saw a hand go up right.
Well, yeah.
We'll take 2 more questions. Yes.
Are you doing anything, talking to young girls that are dating? Do you do anything on that side of it before they get into trouble? Is that happening?
Of course we do. Of course we do. We're called to be evangelists as Catholics, baptized, signed, and sealed. Go proclaim the gospel. So I stand on street corners on a soapbox every Friday afternoon and preach about chastity. Just kidding. No, but yes, to our state in life, we absolutely should be doing that. Obviously, prevention is the best cure, as they say. So, for you that are parents, especially fathers, be vocal with your children about chastity. Always encourage young ladies to be chaste. Encourage men to be chaste. Yes, absolutely. Do I do it on a regular basis? As I'm able to, yes. But I'm not like paid or anything. I don't work for 4 days for life or anything. I just got on an airplane. I figured I had a captive audience of 300 people on the plane, so as I walked down the aisle. One last question, somewhere over here, I thought.
Well, what do you do, like, for example, we here, we can't talk to the people because we have, you know, these retired cities or whatever, blocking our way to the people. So, what do you do when you encounter that situation? You can't talk to people this way.
So you can't talk because of what?
Because we get people who don't let us and call the police who say we're harassing the people. So that's such a blessing that you get to talk to people. We can't have that here. Have you ever been like at a place that you had that situation?
Do you actually have a court order not to talk, or do people just complain?
No, like there's a wall that separates the center, so people drive in, and the only chance would be to get them driving in, but we can't.
Those are the worst clinics.
I know.
They're the worst clinics. You like walk in, you're just like, what can help you? One, find the most attractive girl you know and get her to hand out the flyers. Right at the driveway, okay? Get a dozen people praying on either side. Sprinkle holy water across the car. No, unfortunately, like there's some of the clinics we showed on here were easy to talk to. Some of them are awful. Like there's one in Norfolk I go to. It's awful. They drive in and they park all the way around back. You can't get back there. If you walk down the side, it says private property. Call the police on you. One thing one of my friends does, he always carries a video camera. He's got like a flip camera he turns on for the 2 hours he's out there, just in case someone says like, hey, you're harassing people. He's like, this is not harassment. Okay. Here you go. So you might have to be cunning and use a camera if you're afraid of that. But I would say you're definitely allowed to use your voice to wherever they are. And as long as you're being polite, and polite means not swearing or gesturing profanely, like do as much as the Lord puts on your heart to do. I mean, plead with them for the sake of the child. Pray for them. We can only do as much as we can do unless the Lord calls you to something more. So, well, thank you guys for staying here. Can I ask one more thing? Oh, yeah. I just asked that you would pray for Miguel. He's in his second year of seminary. He's studying to be a holy priest. We need more holy priests.
And
Did he stop drinking coffee?
Well, he's back in seminary, so he drinks a lot of coffee now.
And Josh too.
Yes, pray for me. We want as many kids as God would give us. So there you go.
Did you write the song Good Morning Jesus?
No, I had the privilege of doing, when you're young and single, you can do anything God calls you to. I was doing engineering, making a good bit of money. I felt like God said, quit your engineering job, so I quit the engineering job. 2 days before my last day of work, I got a call from a friend who was like, hey, can you go to Sudan for a month? I was like, money in the bank, no wife, I'm out of here. Bing! Gone. In Sudan, I learned the Good Morning Jesus song. So I spent 3 months in southern Sudan right after the peace treaty in 2006.
Wow.
So, but the Lord calls it, and I tell young people, when you're young, you be radical for God. Now I'm old and married, I can't do anything anymore, but come to Florida and watch myself. So, yes. Pray for us, pray for you, and it's really good to see you. And Isaac. Isaac's awesome. He's still in Virginia Beach. He's one of those guys, I don't know if you caught this at the beginning of the film, but he came from Blacksburg, which is synonymous with nowhere in Virginia. And so he just moved to Virginia Beach, and he's just like loving it. He's just like, people. Not a cow in sight. So he's just doing his thing. He volunteers with the local youth ministry. He just loves people, you know. He comes from a very difficult background. You know, just the fact, I don't guess you'll ever meet him. When you get to heaven, talk to him. Be like, tell us about your childhood, tell us about your background, tell us about your parents. And just the fact that he's as sold out for God as he is, it's just really a testament to the power of God working in hearts. So we pray for him too. Thanks.